Hey, what is up everyone? This video is a little bit supplemental to my main series of Learn the Landing, since I'm going to be adding a playstyle category there, so I wanted to go in depth into what I meant by that, as well as just talk about some strategy that I feel is also important. So to start off with the AR section, I want to talk about some skills you need to have that can vastly improve your gameplay. So obviously there's, taking only right hand peeks like to the best of your ability, and then making less predictable places that you're going to shoot from rather than simply staying in the same box or in the same peeking angle. But there's also head glitching, which is essentially just peeking over without letting your head be past this top row so that you won't get shot from specific angles. Obviously it changes based on the elevation of the opponent, but another skill you need is peek shotting, which isn't like this, where if you're holding ADS the whole time, notice how it takes a while for the first shot accuracy to set in. However, if you are crouching and you click spacebar and then click your ADS button, you'll get it much faster. See? Now for areas in which you want to drop if you have really good AR aim, I'd recommend Loot Lake and Racetrack. Both those areas are places with a lot of open area and not the quickest mats to farm, so obviously it makes sense that AR aim is very important there, as well as natural high ground from different positions in Racetrack and Loot Lake that I'll go over in videos that I've posted or will be posting shortly. So the time for AR aim to really shine is 4th or 5th zone. This is the one before half in, half out circle, as well as half in, half out circle itself. These are really good because when players are rotating, then let's say the storm is on this side and is coming towards you. Obviously your AR aim is really important to make sure you block off your sides while you're trying to take your shots, and then you can even create more advanced boxes such as this to really make sure you're safe, or if you want to focus low ground, you can make a peek box. There's different things to stay safe while also getting as much damage as you can. AR aim also shines against gliding targets because you can get free storm surge tags without them obviously shooting you back. Also, being good at shooting gliding targets is nice because no matter where you are positioned in the circle, every game you're pretty much going to have the opportunity to shoot someone who is in the air. So to practice this, I would recommend Popcorn and Kovacs, or Teahdoh's map, which is an aim trainer that I will link in the description. A very important concept for build fighters to understand is pretty much opportunity cost. If I take a fight from someone coming out of, we'll say, these two houses where there's like 5 chests, and they have shields and a shotgun, and I kill them, what am I going to get? Like 1 mini? Like, it's not worth it. But if I'm camping the team at the block has a golden chest, so you can pretty much guarantee that if you take a fight here, it's going to be worth it. This concept also applies to the new hot drops added in the game. So I would recommend, for example, taking a baller, waiting for these players to finish their fights, and then swooping in after them and engaging them in a build fight, because you can pretty much guarantee yourself being stacked the rest of the game just off of one fight. Obviously, build fighting needs some intense mechanical skills, however, that doesn't mean you need to learn like 8 different high ground retakes. You really only need to learn like 3 or 4 that are actually effective. Currently, there's a lot that are posted every day that are quite frankly not worth learning. Someone I would recommend checking out is Parallel Connor. His moves are pretty difficult sometimes, but I can guarantee you that they are effective. The reasoning you only need to learn like 3 or 4 is because in a game like Fortnite, you will theoretically never verse the same person more than like a couple times, like just in a normal game. So any move you do shouldn't be very predictable, and they probably won't be able to. They won't know it essentially, like what you're going to do. This is obviously different for build fights. Like if you build fight your duo partner every day, you're going to start understanding how they play, and your playstyle will change based on that. Which is why I would recommend instead to build fight a very to build fight various people so that you can get a feel for different playstyles, and you can just see, like, even if you get smashed, it's still a learning opportunity, you know? One thing that I think that people should also start practicing is to force cap their mats on creative servers to like 5 to 700, because if you're build fighting in a real game using every mat you have, and they're using every mat they have, you're going to come out in shambles. So you want to learn how to quickly end fights with efficient builds. Someone you can watch do that is Bizzle. He's really good at, playing smart, not overbuilding. So yeah. Another concept I want to talk about is 2v2 variations. So typically in duos there will be an aggressive player and a support player. So you can try to emulate that in creative games. I've never seen anyone do that, but let's say you put your aggressive players in the 1v1, and then you put your support players maybe 4 or 5 tiles away. Give the aggressive players a couple seconds to start their fight, get up and then ramp towards each other or whatever, and then have the support players start to like shoot down the opponent, obviously, and get into the fray as well. One map that I'd recommend for build fighters is Enigma's new map. A lot of the scenarios in there are very applicable to real games, so I'll link it in the description below. For late game players, it's best if you can find a safe early game loot path and just take shots on people whenever you see them just running in the open mid game in case you need to get Storm Surge damage. A couple skills that these players need to practice are obviously scrims for rotations and zone wars for getting really proficient at moving zones. Another skill you could practice is box fighting, which is pretty much a couple zones or maybe one or two before moving zones when people are boxed up. What I like to do is I'll have my duo partner or whatever stand on the other side, and then we'll trade possession of the wall to begin with, and then just from there try to take the wall and try to fight them. You could also practice it in the same box. I don't really like doing it like this because I don't feel that it's very realistic, since the way I see it, whenever you're approaching a box, you don't just walk into a W keying, you make a box outside to protect yourself from all angles, and then you start to pressure. For shotgun players, I'd recommend a place like Dusty Divot and Lazy Lagoon, the ship specifically, because these are indoor locations where player builds are very minimal in comparison to the natural terrain. You need to become proficient at movement, which is a core fundamental in FPS games. It's a topic that's pretty difficult to learn and pretty much just comes with experience, but you can look to players like Nick Merckx for how he manages his early game fights. Also, you could practice Turtle Wars, since quick edits and maneuvering like so is really important for becoming really good at shotgun fights. Obviously, if you want to become the best of the best, you need to become proficient in as many skills as possible. I was just trying to break down how certain playstyles should be considered when you determine your drop spot. If you enjoyed the video, then leave a like and subscribe. Thanks.